75,000 soldiers, American and Filipino, starving, diseased, surrounded, trapped on a peninsula that had slowly become a cage, and one general faced the most impossible decision of the war. By April 1942, Bataan had been cut off from the outside world for months. No reinforcements reached them. No ships broke through the blockade. No air support arrived with supplies. And behind the lines in Washington, the strategic reality had already been accepted. Reinforcement was no longer viable. The Philippines could not be held, and so it would not be reinforced. The men on Bataan did not know this. They were still holding positions, still believing relief would come. It never did. General Douglas MacArthur had already been ordered out, not asked, ordered by President Roosevelt. Under cover of night, he left by PT boat, slipping through Japanese naval patrols. From there, he flew to Australia. Before he left, he made a promise that would echo through the war. I shall return. For the men left behind, those words became hope. A reason to endure another day, then another, then another. But hope does not stop starvation, and time was running out. Inside Bataan, the army began to break down. Slowly, completely. First, the food ran out. Rations were cut in half, then cut again, then reduced to almost nothing. Soldiers survived on whatever they could find: rice husks, roots, mule meat, even lizards. Then came disease. Malaria swept through entire battalions. Dysentery spread through overcrowded camps. Beriberi and scurvy returned to a modern battlefield. Because medicine no longer existed in sufficient supply, men lost 40, sometimes 50 pounds. Some became too weak to stand. But they stayed in position, because there was no one left to replace them. By early April, what remained was no longer an army. It was exhaustion held together by discipline alone. Beyond the lines, the situation was decisive. Fresh Japanese forces had arrived. Heavy artillery, air support. Thousands of combat-ready troops sent to end resistance in Bataan. There would be no relief, no breakthrough, no reversal. And if the final assault came, it would not be a battle. It would be annihilation. Under the burden of command, General Edward King saw it every day. Men collapsing mid-sentence. Soldiers too weak to lift their rifles. Units disappearing, not from enemy fire, but from starvation and disease. And he understood something unavoidable. There was no escape forming, no evacuation coming, no naval corridor through Japanese-controlled waters, no airlift capable of extracting tens of thousands of men, even guerrilla withdrawal into the jungle. Once a theoretical option was no longer realistic for most. Some might survive it, but most were already too broken to try. This was not an army that could be redirected. It was an army reaching its physical limit, and King carried another weight, the one no battlefield calculation removes. He knew what surrender meant. In military culture, it meant judgment. It meant scrutiny. It meant being remembered not for what you saved, but for what you lost. So he requested authorization to surrender. Denied. He requested again. Denied again. And in that silence, the decision became his alone. April 9, 1942. In the morning, General Edward King moved forward under a white flag. Without authorization, without reinforcement. He met Japanese commanders and offered unconditional surrender. It was accepted. It became the largest surrender of American-led forces since the Civil War. 75,000 Filipino and American soldiers laid down their weapons. Many did not react. They were too weak to feel victory or defeat, only relief that the fighting had finally stopped. But King understood what they did not yet know. Surrender was not safety. It was transition into something far worse. King's final request was simple, that his men be treated humanely. No guarantees were given. Within days, his fears began to take shape. The survivors of Bataan, already weakened by months of starvation and disease, were forced into a brutal march through jungle heat. No food, no water, no mercy. Those who fell were beaten. Those who could not stand again were killed. Those who tried to drink from roadside water were shot. Between 5,000 and 18,000 men would die before reaching prison camps. History would call it the Bataan Death March.